everyone. Thank you for joining me at A Neurodivergent Soul. In this podcast, I'm speaking with Paul Drayton. Paul has an interesting story. He's written a book about it. He was late diagnosed in his 50s with ADHD, and this helped him to understand a lot of his life, being in relationship with Alan Carr and some of the difficulties he experienced with relationship, and he dives into some of his addiction and the difficulties with that and the recovery he's had through that. He's funny, he has a lot of humor and self-awareness, and the journey he's taken was a real turning point in his life from the beginning. So yeah, enjoy this podcast. So Paul, welcome to A Neurodivergent Soul. It's lovely to have you here.
And it's lovely to be here. Thank you so much for having me on.
Where are you in the world?
I'm in Horsham, West Sussex, in the countryside.
So not so far from here. I'm down
No.
in Midlands. So what is it about your story that is really interesting for readers and listeners, would you say?
Well, I think they'd have to be the judge of that. But
Well,
I have lived quite a colourful life and have come across quite a lot of experiences and life lessons and, coming out in Sunderland as a gay man, in the 80s, which, back then it wasn't really spoken about. So I had to hide it. Chasing my dreams to become an actor, moving to London, things not quite working out, then working in the hospitality industry, very colourful life, and then marrying one of the country's most well-known comedians, and living through that experience as well, which was
amazing.
incredible.
There's a lot there
And
for us.
there's a lot there. It's in the book, which I've
Yeah.
just released.
You must tell us about your book. That sounds
I will.
fascinating. Yeah, absolutely.
It's called Ride or Die Trying.
Nice.
It's a very good reading. I'm very proud of it.
Good for you. That sounds
Thank you.
really great. So, did you become an actor?
I've done bits and pieces. Before I moved to London, I was in various television shows, namely Biker Grove with Anton Deck and Donna Eyre. And then I joined an amateur dramatics group, the People's Theatre in Jesmond in Newcastle. And I did various productions there, and pantomime. I used to love pantomime.
Right.
I've just had a few auditions this year actually for pantomime, but I'm not sure whether I've got the job or not. I don't know. But yes, I kind of got lost along the way.
Right.
And all of this kind of, I've written about it in the book, not really fully understanding why, and the rejections. And I suppose acting isn't the best profession to go into if you're sensitive to rejection, because it's full of
really
them.
hard. Yeah,
really hard,
yes.
as a lot of people know. And then I kind of put my life and career on hold and got with my ex, and it kind of took a turn for the better, and then as the years went on, I kind of I wouldn't say put my life on hold, because I wasn't. I was busy all the time. But then, like I said, I was working in the hospitality industry, and that kind of led to a lot of partying and alcohol, because then I became an alcoholic, which, again, the full story's in the book. Yeah. And so, yeah, it's been quite eventful.
Take us back to Sunderland and growing up. How was that for you?
Sunderland, great town. Well, it was a town then. It's now been made, it's given city status.
Okay.
It was great. I had a great childhood, happy childhood, wonderful holidays, wonderful parents. Everybody called their neighbours aunt and uncle, holidays. It was really idyllic, and that's why I couldn't understand as I got older why alcohol became quite prevalent within my life. But since having the diagnosis when I was 50, it kind of all made sense and everything kind of fell into place.
Yeah, often does.
There was no trauma, there was no abuse or anything like that. When you go to treatment centers, you would hear of horrific stories and you think, oh my goodness, how are these people even still here to tell their story? And so I went under, therapists and counselors to ask why. And then when I was diagnosed, it was unintentionally, actually. I was with an addictions clinic, and the psychiatrist there, I was in his office, and he was just asking me question after question. I thought, another load of boring questions. And I was answering them as honestly and open as I could. And then by the end of it, he just said, well, you've got ADHD. And I hadn't a clue what it was. I hadn't even heard of it, if I'm being honest. And so at the time, it didn't really register. And I was going through a whole load of other personal dilemmas in my life. I'd been arrested. I did something stupid within the relationship, which I take full accountability for. I take full accountability for everything. I was dealing with court cases. I was dealing with a divorce, moving home, finding a home. I had a dog that was ill. I had to have brain operations. And it was pretty tough. And it wasn't until the divorce went through and I moved into my own home and my nervous system kind of settled. And I learned a lot more about myself and about the neurodivergent ADHD. And I think it helped immensely with, becoming the person I am today. I was able to understand why I was self-medicating with alcohol. Not all the time, but that was my go-to. If ever I kind of got overwhelmed by anything or I needed it to release dopamine or as a reward system, I would, turn to alcohol,
Right.
but not all the time, there was most of the time it was like social, but then I wouldn't just drink to enjoy it. I would drink to get drunk
Yes.
and even black out to block things out, to cope with it, and to calm the nervous system. And yeah, I think a lot of people can probably relate to that now because it's becoming more, it's linked to being self-medicated. I always remember when I was in court and I got sentenced to prison, which you'll read about in the book, the judge said to me, she said, I'm aware that most people who come to this court have personal issues and, whatever, but it doesn't detract from the fact that they've done something wrong and they've committed a crime. Now, I agree. We all know that if we're doing something wrong, but she kind of dismissed the fact that, they didn't look at the bigger picture. They didn't at all. They were just determined to send me to prison because I was in the public eye or married to somebody who's in the public eye. And that in itself was so difficult to deal with, the shame and the paranoia and the overthinking and the injustice of it all. It was horrendous, absolutely horrendous. So yeah, I'm here to tell the tale. The book's called Ride or Die Trying, and believe me, I nearly, for whatever reason, died on many occasions. So I'm glad I'm here to tell the story.
For our listeners who are going to be curious, just like I am, why did you go to prison? Can you share that part of your story?
Yeah. There was a build up to a specific incident in my life, and it all became too much. and there was a specific incident that happened, and I ended up, as I had done in the past, becoming absolutely broken.
Mm.
And you know, I got arrested for drink driving, and I'm not the type of person. I wasn't down the pub thinking, oh, I won't say the word drunk, and I'll just drive home. You know, it wasn't the case at all. I was in a really difficult situation, and I very dark part of my life, and I foolishly went out in the car to go to the local shop, and you know, I just didn't think about it. I think that's another thing about ADHD. You do things kind of spontaneously.
Yeah.
And it was a very unfortunate situation. Well, actually, I say it's unfortunate. It led to a lot of other things which have kind of been good in a way. It's turned out to be good. But I was arrested, and yeah, I was a completely broken man. If anybody wants to see it, it's on my social media page, and like I said, the full stories in the book. I regret it, but at the same time, it's got me where I am today.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Often the way, isn't it? The dark
yeah,
night of the soul will take us to
absolutely.
big changes in our lives.
And like I said, I take full accountability for everything, and
Sure,
yeah, and
sure.
I think you have to.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the way to grow, isn't it? And learn
Yeah,
to develop our own characters and the qualities we want to be proud of. So,
and I've written the book to kind of help and inspire others to kind of speak
okay,
out their truth and be honest, because that's all I am. I'm just a completely honest and open person, an open book.
that's nice. So let's. I want to go back to Sunderland a little bit again because I'm quite
Go back to
fascinated with
Sunderland.
this.
It stank then. Well, I'm saying it stank. It just reminded me of a chapter in the book where, you know, before the bridges were built, which is like the shopping centre, it was really like, I remember it was just stinky. The car park where my mum used to park when we used to go shopping to C&A and Marks and Spencer's, the stairs down to the actual town centre, it stank of pee.
Oh,
But it doesn't stink. It's a great city, and I love the
yeah.
people from Sunderland as well. It was yeah, it was a great place. My parents are actually from Lincoln, and they moved up
Okay.
3 years before I was born to what was classed as a posh housing estate there.
Okay.
It's not so much now, but it was great. And
Yeah,
again,
because it's so interesting that this is the thing that fascinates me is that you had such a great childhood. Yeah, no issues, no trauma, no problems.
no,
Yet there was this problem then of the drink and um, something not known about clearly
yes,
that was there. And you know, we never want to dig around looking for trauma or anything like that.
no,
But something in our story is often something's showing up. Was the
yeah.
ADHD showing up, do you think, in your life
Well,
showing up?
again, well, writing this book, it's made me reflect, look at old school reports and things like
Yeah.
that. But one of the things that I do remember is that when I used to go to bed, I couldn't sleep,
Okay.
and unless I'd been out maybe on a Friday night or Saturday night, and then you just pass out. But
Mm,
during the week when I was working, I'd be like lying in bed, and the brain was like a washing machine. A lot of people in AA meetings talk about having the washing machine brain, where it's just like going round and tumbling
yeah.
each
Yeah.
way. And I always remember my aunt, who also used alcohol as a coping mechanism in times in her life. She used to say, well, have a hot whiskey and milk. So used to go down, put a nice mug in the microwave, and then top it up with whiskey, bit of sugar, take it back upstairs, listen to Tony Braxton on my CD player, and then just sip it. And I remember just that calmness, and like the brain stopped, and I'd drift off to sleep. So right from an early on, that was a kind of me way of not taking a sleeping pill, but just slowing the brain down and
Yeah.
being able to sleep.
Yeah. So it's where
So
it started really with the
yeah,
drink.
absolutely,
And there
yeah,
was
yeah.
alcoholism in your family. So
Yes, yeah. I
mm,
mean, I have, I've got 3 older brothers. One sadly passed away just over a year ago now due to alcoholism. And I think he had undiagnosed ADHD. And also my father, who passed away earlier this year, sadly, I think he had undiagnosed ADHD. And I'll tell you a story about that maybe later in the podcast. But he never drank, you know, he didn't touch alcohol. I think his father suffered from drinking and alcoholism, and he sadly accidentally killed himself drinking paraquat because he was suffering from pain, and so he drank a plant fertilizer or poison to kind of, and he killed himself accidentally. So that was quite tragic. And again, you look at things like this in therapy. You know, the Gabor Mate, he talks about trauma, and it doesn't have to necessarily be what you've experienced yourself, but what your parents have gone through and how they can pass it on. And so I was maybe thinking maybe that was the case as well, but no. So yeah,
there was something going on, wasn't there, for your grandmother giving you whiskey in milk?
Yeah, my aunt
then
was,
taking that, your aunt, so going to bed with that, and so somewhere you were self-medicating.
Yes,
as a very young person.
Yeah, and again, you know, I wasn't a party person when I was younger. I'd maybe go out at the weekends, but I wasn't a big drinker. But when I did drink, when you know, I used to drink a lot.
Right.
You know, but it wasn't until later on in life that I was probably realized that once I kind of was working in the hospitality and catering industry, that it was always around. And working in the media and in the entertainment industry, it was always around. And so you just didn't really think much of it. You know, it was just that it was there. And, you know, that was part of your life, part and parcel of your life.
Yeah. And it is coming out now a lot, isn't it, that people who are neurodivergent and all other manner of diagnosis and experiences are saying that drugs and alcohol have been part of their life, self-medicating on some level. And even if it's not a substance, it might be people, or it might be different experiences, or there's a lot of different ways to be addicted to something, to medicate with other things.
People say you've got an addictive personality, or they've got an addictive personality. I tend to find that I do. You know, I get addicted to quite things. I'm addicted to social media.
Right.
You know, if I want an escapism, or I've got something on my mind, or like doing this podcast, I was kind of like getting a little bit angsty about it. So what did I do? I kind of started scrolling on Instagram, because it just takes your mind away from everything.
Right. So that's a way of self-medicating.
It is, yeah.
Use
and
what we have.
Yeah. I also got kind of addicted to an app on the phone, which is Grindr, which I talk about in the book. And again, that was it's a gay dating site for men. And I kind of used to get lost in that and use it for self-gratification. And when I was feeling low, and I'd turn to that to kind of change the way I felt, basically. But with anything, social media or whatever you use it online, it can be quite dark place as well, which again I kind of relate to in the book.
And it's mind altering. Anything that's going to be mind altering.
Yeah, anything that's mind altering. Yeah.
And becomes obsessive. Like we get obsessed with things, don't we? And we can talk about that as a neurodivergent, having special interests as well. But some of those special interests can lead us to dark places, and some can actually be really interesting and important.
Well, this is another thing which I didn't understand, was that I would get really hyper focused on something, and then lose interest or get overwhelmed by it, and I'd think, oh, why can't I fulfill that, you know, ambition? Or I'd start projects, I start writing things, and then if I didn't get like the response or the support or the encouragement that I got, that I should or would have liked, then it goes and you just lose it, you know.
I can totally relate to that, Paul.
Yes.
I really,
Good.
I have so many different projects, and if there isn't a
Yeah,
response from it, it's like,
I know.
oh, that's gone, not lost interest,
Yeah,
on to the next thing.
yeah. And if you haven't got, I've got a great team around me now, and that's how I managed to actually eventually write this book.
Oh, great.
So I'm really, really happy about that.
Yeah.
And I hope it helps other people as well, you
Yeah.
know?
That's the important thing, isn't it? That we take our life story and we turn it into a gift for others.
Yeah,
And that's us giving back for what we've received and part of our own
without a doubt.
experiences. Yeah, yeah.
Mm,
And even if those experiences are really tough and really challenging, and even if
mm,
we've had to go, like you say, to some really dark places, then there
yeah,
is still so much to learn from that. And if we help one other person, then there's something really,
totally agree.
yeah,
And you know what? The response from this book has been incredible. Like, obviously, I was married to somebody in the public eye, but
yes.
I was known as the ex and the alcoholic ex
Right.
because that was the narrative that was put
Mm,
out there.
mm.
And so now I'm just, you know what, like I normally do, I've lost my trail of thought. What were you saying before that?
Well, you were in a relationship and you became the ex and the alcoholic, and
Hmm,
yeah, so
yeah.
there was that's difficult. Yeah,
It was very difficult, and I don't think people understand, you know. From the outside, I had this great life. I was meeting this person, I was that person, I'd been here, I'd been there, you know, had
mm,
access to a lot of things, and I didn't have to worry about, you know, financial side of things. Went on amazing holidays, and my relationship with my ex was fantastic in the beginning, and I thought, you know, he
sure.
was my ride or die. But then as situations changed out of my control, and
Mm,
I kind of felt like I was kind of losing myself a little bit and
mm,
couldn't understand why. I mean, I knew why on some aspects because I wasn't that person, and you know, I wasn't. But you know, that cut deep with me. It was quite harsh,
yeah,
and you know, that led me to the point, you know, in 2021 where I did I made the foolish mistake of going out in the car.
yeah,
And but again, you know, it's not a sob story at all. My
no,
journey isn't a sob story,
it's
and
not
I
a
don't want
learning
any
and
sympathy
no,
whatsoever from anybody.
it's
You know,
learning and growth
it
story, isn't
is,
it?
yeah. And I,
It's
like I said, I take full
inspiring.
accountability for
Mm,
everything. Well,
nice,
most
nice.
things.
Well, that's growing up, isn't it? That's being a mature
It
adult
is.
in the world. We have to be accountable, and I totally
Yeah,
see you on that one. And sometimes recovery really helps us with that, because we have to look back, don't we, in some of
yeah,
those
yeah,
dark places. Yeah, and I think the whole addiction thing, I think we're getting a bit more understanding around it now in society, but there's always been so much shame around it, and people haven't understood that it's actually an illness.
no,
It's not that somebody can just stop drinking. In fact,
yeah,
it's quite dangerous to do so.
it is. Yeah.
It's like we have to really take care of ourselves,
Mm,
and you can't do it on your own, can you? So that there's so much about
mm,
addiction that society doesn't really understand, and so much blame and
yeah.
misunderstandings around it.
Well, I'm actually helping somebody online, one of my followers who's stopped drinking yesterday, and I'm
Mm,
encouraging them.
mm,
But going back to what you were saying about, do you know, my mind, I forgot. Encouraging somebody, understanding.
yeah.
Um, that was it. Back in 2018, my ex wrote a book, and he kind of outed me as an alcoholic. And he was very, you know, he's very candid and sympathetic. But
Mm,
then, when the book was released, the press focused on my alcoholism, and I thought, well, that's fine. I don't mind, because if it sells more books, then we're a partnership, and it kind of it's good. But then, and I thought I could use it to my advantage and help other people and have interviews and do podcasts like I'm doing now. But the opportunity never came. I was kind of kept quiet and I was in the background, and I just felt like, again, dismissed kind of thing. And yeah, I just and I actually wrote a tour called The Evolution of an Alcoholic.
Mm.
And I wanted to go around the country and just perform it with injecting some comedy, because believe it or not, I like comedy as well, and I think I'm quite funny. And I think, the shame around alcoholics is really bad. And I used to say alcoholics should be alcoholics allowed, not anonymous. And
Right.
people should be able to, scream, "I'm an alcoholic. I need help. We're
Yeah.
here," rather than be kept, in small churches and venues,
Mm.
talking about, helping others. But,
Mm.
they should be able to talk about it more freely and open. But I wasn't given the opportunity. But now it's my time to talk about it. And
I think
I'm
it's
really,
great that
really pleased about that.
it's great that you're talking about it, Paul. And I think it is so important that we get
Thank you.
better, but that we get a better understanding about addiction, because people are
Yeah.
suffering and families are suffering a
Well,
lot of
again,
the time due to them not having the understanding or the knowledge of
yeah,
what illness actually is.
yeah,
Nobody wakes up one morning and thinks, "Oh, I think I'll be an alcoholic," and
yeah,
it's like, no, it is there, and
yeah,
it's a family disease, isn't it?
yeah,
And it affects everybody. And yeah, just having a bit more intelligence and informing ourselves of what addiction is would
yeah.
benefit
I
so many
mean,
people.
the ripple effect that it has on people
Yeah,
is,
yeah.
unbelievable. And that's, again,
Mm.
why it's good for people who maybe are married to somebody, who have partners who
Mm.
are in active addiction, or
Mm.
they've got
Mm.
ADHD. It's
Yeah,
good to help them understand, even siblings, or sons or daughters. A
yeah,
few people have said, "Oh, I can recognize this in myself, or my son, or my daughter."
yeah.
And it's
Yes.
really good.
Well done for your recovery, and I think that's
Thank you.
amazing, very inspiring. So I hope a lot of people hear this and can find
Yeah.
that recovery in themselves. Let's go to the ADHD then. And how was it in your education to have now that you think back to what was it like for me having ADHD in school, for example, and your first job or things like that?
Yeah. Well, I didn't really know that I'd got ADHD.
Oh, now I get it.
Writing the book, we went through old school reports, and it was, clear if there was a subject that I liked or stimulated
Mm.
the brain, I'd
Mm.
be really good and focused. A little bit of a cheeky git and a bit of a class clown. But,
Yeah.
I did well in the subjects that I loved. But with regards to like maths or science,
Mm.
couldn't like
Right.
connect that brain.
Right.
Even now, if people come round to, like, somebody came round on Monday to quote me for an air source heat pump, and he started talking technically, and I was like, blah 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 blah. I hadn't got a clue. I
Yeah,
said,
I
just
get it.
keep it
I get that.
simple.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I just, looking back now, it's clear.
Mm.
Um, Again, I used comedy to cope as a coping mechanism, and so, like I said, I was a bit of the class clown kind of thing. Did something, made rash, stupid decisions, like. Somebody did something in a science lesson once, so I stabbed him with a compass.
Oh dear. Has he
Not like,
forgiven you?
not like Psycho, but like I just.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
again, I did something. It's funny. I did something with my brother once. He was peeing me off with this homemade drum kit, and he was making me annoyed. And I can't remember exactly what happened. And then he hit me over the head with his drumstick. So I picked up my knitting needle and stabbed him in the leg with
Do you mean?
it.
Brilliant.
I was horrified. Like, why on earth did I do that? But like the brain as well, I'd be
Yeah.
sitting there, or something would come to my mind, and the unfiltered side of things, and I'd just like shout out things or speak what was on my mind. And it was quite, I found it quite funny. But then sometimes people would look in like shock, So it was there during school. I remember my mum was a school teacher, and I'd come home with me homework, and I'd sit at the dinner table to do it. And I used to say, Mum, can you help me with this? Mum, can you help me with this? And she'd be like, no. And I was like, but you're a teacher. And she then has told me that she used to have as much patience as she needed with her school, with her pupils. But because I was her son, she just thought I was being lazy or didn't want to do anything. So she feels a bit guilty about that now.
Oh, bless her, bless her.
Yeah.
Well, as mothers, we do carry guilt, and
Yeah.
we don't recognize things at the time, but later on, it's okay. Could have done
It's
better.
like my mum's just finished reading the book as well. Obviously, she was quite an important part of the process.
Of course.
But she read the book and she said to me, I feel bad because she didn't realize a lot of this stuff that was going on while I was in London behind the scenes, that what I was going through.
Yeah.
And I said, well, you weren't to know as a son, you weren't to know because I hid it well from her. And that's what we do. We kind of hide things and we mask things and we play out to this, we're expected to be, this perfect son or whatever. And I was nowhere near perfect, you know. I ended up becoming a bloody drug dealer. That's what another thing that I write about in the book. You know, one of these decisions that I thought, yeah, I'll deal drugs. I know enough cokeheads in West London to serve. I'll do that, you know. Ridiculous.
And there's the company that we end up keeping as well as youngsters, isn't there? That we can fall into the wrong.
Yeah.
Not
well,
that it's
fortunately,
wrong
I never did
necessarily,
that. I never fell into the wrong crowd. But, you know, I used to gravitate more towards the people who enabled the drink or were also fellow drinkers who like to go out and they used to, you know, shots and this and that, you know. So
of course, and you would. I mean, that would be a natural progression of the illness and how we connect to others. And without the substances, then it's very difficult to connect for some of us. So, and it sounds like, I mean, bless your mom, she recognizes that now, but there was on some level you weren't being supported in what you needed, and nobody knew what you needed. But especially back then, and we know that there wasn't the information in.
I mean, even now, like I said, my mum was a teacher, and I don't think it was known back then.
Exactly.
If you were naughty, you'd be put in the remedial class, or you'd be expelled, or this, that, and the other.
Oh yeah. I mean, it happened to me. I mean, I was clearly ADHD autistic in school. Looking back, absolutely everything that happened to me there. You know, I don't remember school as a happy place at all.
No.
Quite like a prison sentence almost. I hated it. But yeah, nobody knew particularly about girls and women. So, you know, there might have been a little bit known about boys, but they were the ones jumping around the room and causing havoc.
Destruction,
Not the comical, funny little kids who you know, were sort of maybe a bit quieter but just had a funny
something different about them. Just
and could hold humor.
Well, one of my best friends, you know, her she's trying to get her diagnosed with ADHD, and we know how difficult it is in this country. And so she's just been going through her GCSEs, and with schools, you know, it's a one size fits all, isn't there? There's no taking into consideration on how people's brains work. You know, some people aren't good at maths, they're not good at science. There are some schools, I can't remember what they call them now, a couple of my friends, their children go to them and they only learn what they want to learn on that particular day. And I think, you know, obviously schools have, you know, because of the enormity of it and the things that they can't do that specifically. They have to keep a curriculum. But I think that's really, it's the way forward, you know?
Absolutely. Yeah, we need a lot of changes, and
we do.
We can recognize how difficult that is for schools. But I think there have been some gradual changes. My little grandchildren go, and there's, you know, there are some changes being made. There's a bit more sympathy there and a bit more understanding, but I think it's still a long way to go. Hey? And then what's the lovely dog in the background? And
Who is
then
it?
the accommodations that are needed in the workforce as well.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
I'm interested in that, you know, you say you were the comedian in school, you know, you're the funny kid, and you were quite, you know, you've brought that through. I can see a pattern there from as a child being a bit of a clown in the classroom and that
Yeah.
sort of thing, and then leading to the stage, to pantomime, to and then actually marrying a comedian.
Yeah.
You know, so there's a thread there, isn't there, of an attraction to this, and you talk about it as your coping mechanism, like that was a way to cope in life, was to bring humor into things,
Yeah.
and that served you, and that in it sounds like, and especially in writing your book, there is a natural performer there who's now got the opportunity to really come out and
I'd like
express
to think
his
so.
story and
Yes.
put it on the stage, even like
Yes.
share the story.
Again, you know, I'd come up with treatments for TV shows or ideas for sitcoms, and I even started writing one. But you know, again, if it didn't come to fruition, or I wasn't getting the support or encouragement, it just kind of fell on deaf ears, and nothing came about. And again, I just put it down for me being a failure, really. But I love making people laugh, you know, and I do whatever to make them laugh.
Yeah.
I I remember playing what's that? Give Us a Clue with some friends, and it was 2 words. It was a television show, and I said I'll do the whole thing, and I just stood up, took my top off, and pulled my trousers down, and everybody shouted, "Embarrassing bodies!" And so yeah, and we still laugh about that now. So I'd make a fool of myself to make people laugh,
Right.
you know. And being married to a comedian, you know, we used to make each other laugh. That's what I used to love, making each other laugh and having fun times and stuff like that. In fact, you know, people will often say to me, "You're funnier than your ex," and you know, I think comedy's subjective, and you know, at times I think I probably was. But
Right.
there you go.
So is that how you met? Is that how you married your husband? How you met, married, and
Well, we met through a mutual friend on his 30th birthday. He was at this party. I was with a friend of mine. We were supposed to be there, but we were getting ready and partying before we got there, and arrived kind of fairly late. My ex was just about to leave, and we just kind of clicked. And from then on, you know, it happened pretty quick, and we fell in love with each other, and you know, had many, many, many happy years together.
And did you get a sense of being sort of out of the limelight when you were together? Or was that hard, being with somebody in the public eye?
It was hard. You know, when we first got together, people used to say, "Oh, you're a good double act," and we used to bounce off each other. And you know, I used to feed him jokes, or you know, we used to just, you know, be funny together. And there was one time, and again, I write about it in the book. I thought, you know, I think comedy world's missing a kind of comedy duo like Morecambe and Wise and Eric and Ernie Large, and you know, the two Ronnies. And I thought, you know what, it would be great if we could, you know, write something or do funny comedy sketches together. But again, it was from very early on, it was made clear that, you know, our professional lives and personal lives were to be kept that way. And I fully understood that. And I, you know,
it's often the way.
you know, somebody once said to me, "Oh, you just want to become famous," and I don't at all. I just want to work I just wanted to work in an industry that I loved and do something that I enjoyed.
And what's wrong with wanting to be famous?
Well,
you know, there is
now,
like there's famous and there's famous, but there's,
yeah,
like you were saying, you know, when you do something and it's encouraged and witnessed and received, that makes you feel good, and it makes your.
Well, I just wanted to be, you know, recognized and
exactly
successful, not particularly famous, because now I've seen the side of fame.
Exactly,
and what it does, and you know, how it can affect people and kill people.
Yes.
You know, all too often through the media or press, whatever, it end up people can't cope with it.
Right. Yeah.
So I kind of was in the spotlight, but in the shadows,
Mm,
and it didn't bother me at all. But
mm,
as time went on, I had this creative brain, and I wanted to do my own thing,
mm.
and I came up with an idea for a podcast called "How the Other Half Lives,"
Okay.
talking to the other halves of other people that were in the spotlight, and I recorded 4 good episodes. But then I didn't have a producer, and I was doing it all by myself, and I was getting overwhelmed by it, and I didn't know who to reach out to, and it all became too much.
Mm,
And so it never got published, or it never went out there. Something I might revisit, actually, how the other
yeah.
half lived. So yeah, again, I put that down as a failure. And then COVID came along,
Oh, yeah.
and like it did with a lot of people, just pulled the rug from underneath their feet. I got given a blow from my ex, and that kind of set me back. And from then on, I kind of went down and down and down and down, all the while not knowing about the ADHD. I'd be there throughout COVID, and they'd be busy doing interviews, Zoom meetings, writing,
Mm, mm,
and I was thinking, why can't I get motivated? Why can't I, why won't I just pick something up? And again, with the writing thing as well, if I'm out and about, I can think of things, and I make notes on my phone, but then actually
mm,
sitting down in front of a keyboard, the
mm.
brain goes blank.
Yeah.
And so, that's why the process of writing the book was really difficult. I used to just make
Okay.
notes and sit with my ghostwriter, who was incredible,
Right.
really incredible.
Right.
And we managed to get the book written. It was like putting a massive jigsaw, 1,000-piece jigsaw in front of her, and, working on the outside, and then building in and in and in. And then finally putting that last piece in place, and having that, doesn't that look good? Doesn't that feel good?
That must feel really fantastic. As a
Yeah.
writer
And
myself,
again,
I
that was
can
because I
relate
had
to that. Yeah.
the right team around me, supportive and encouragement. It was incredible.
Yeah. That's lovely to hear that you have a team, and
Yeah.
doing everything by ourselves is often one of the things that we can struggle with a lot. And I know
And
that
reaching
from,
out for help as
yeah,
well.
I
Yeah.
know that from experience. So yeah, it's so interesting.
And
Thank
that's why I've
you.
written the book as well, to help people, encourage them, and inspire them a little bit.
Yeah, great, great.
You know.
So tell us, what's your hopes now for the next months, years? Where are you going?
Well, there's a tattoo on my neck, which there's a story behind, which is written in the book, and it's is it this side? It's a compass,
Okay.
and it
Oh, yeah,
says
it's a compass. Yes.
"Destination unknown."
Oh,
My
nice.
destination is unknown, but within the last kind of year or two, I've signed with an acting agent.
Oh, fantastic.
I'm doing self tapes. I've got one to do after I do this podcast, actually, for a commercial. I've
Uh-huh.
been doing auditions for pantomime, and it's just building up that self confidence again, that
Yeah,
feeling, that self worth again,
yeah.
and putting myself out there again. But I'm not putting any pressure on myself. I'm not
Good.
taking, I'm not taking things like personally like I used to, and wondering why, why
Yeah.
this, why that. I'm kind of being a lot easier on myself.
Mm, mm,
And I've been writing a little bit of stand-up comedy as well, and I've just put that into kind of like a 10 minutes stand-up set. So when I've finished concentrating on this book, because again, I've learned in the past, I kind of flip from one thing to one thing to another, one thing to another, and I
mm.
don't get anything done. So I'm just focusing on the book, and then once that's, I'm happy with the way things are going there, I'll maybe write to a couple of comedy clubs and say, oh, well, can you give me a 10-minute slot. I also created a character, which is my what's it called, alter ego,
Mm.
and it's my gay twin bitchy brother. And I got a pair of turkey teeth made, and I put those teeth in, pop a wig on, and he comes on holiday with me, and we see the funny side of things, and he says the things that I wouldn't necessarily say. He's got quite a
Yeah.
loud brash, rude, cheeky
Fantastic.
mouth on him.
Well, hopefully we're going to meet this duo.
Yes.
You now have your duo, don't you?
Yes. Well, I would do the stand-up comedy as Louis, my brother, because again, as an actor, I'm quite a shy person and I don't like to talk about myself. But once those teeth go in and that wig comes on, I become something different. It's like, as an actor, you become a character.
The shape-shiftingness, isn't it?
Again, it's like with a lot of characters as well, you know.
Yeah.
They can be really bubbly and outgoing and come across as one way on the screen, but behind they're depressive or they're quite shy. It's like Victoria Wood. Loved her work, still do. I think I don't know a person that doesn't. And I met her at the Comedy Awards and I thought, oh, I'd love to say hello to her and just say hello. And she just ignored me. And I thought, that was a bit rude. But I think she was quite an introvert and shy person, possibly ADHD. And so I understand that she was in an environment that she wasn't particularly comfortable with. So
I really relate. Yeah, I've entered the acting world myself a bit more fully this last couple of years.
All right.
Relate to just what you're saying. And I have a character that
I could see you in a Shakespeare play.
Oh, could you? Oh, I did a bit of Shakespeare. I did a bit of Lady Macbeth, but
all right, yeah.
But I've got my alter ego, definitely. My funny old lady who likes to grow plants and tomatoes and things, but she's
do it.
Yeah. Good. It's great fun. It's such good fun, and we learn so much about ourselves in the process, don't we? Great. So we're going to see a lot more of you, and I think that's really fantastic. And
like I said, I'm just taking
and I'm going to read your book. I don't read books before I meet somebody because I like.
Have you read the book? No, not yet.
No, because I want to meet you first, and then otherwise, absolutely, ride or die trying.
It's had 5-star reviews on Amazon, quite a lot. Fantastic. And even with I will mention this, that people even with ADHD have said that because of the paper and the font, which I chose very carefully, they've been able to read it the first time they've read a book in a long time, and they haven't been able to put it down. So a little bit big up for myself there.
Great, fantastic. Well done for doing that. It's lovely. It's really lovely to hear how you've mastered all of this and your creativity and using your life story now to
share with others and inspire
others. That's so great. I am going to read your book, and I'm looking forward to that. But as I say, I like to be curious about the person, so I don't know too much. If I know too much, then I lose my curiosity.
And also, you're a dog lover as well. The profits for the book are going towards the dog charities as well.
Oh, amazing!
Because it's been said by some people that I'm writing it because I'm short of money. That's not the case at all. I'm an animal lover and activist, and so I've written. One of the reasons is to put the profits towards dog charities. So you'll be helping dog charities too.
That's definitely my own heart.
Good.
Dogs myself. So give us a message for our listeners, something for them to take away with themselves. That's just something they could hold on to for now until they read your book.
Yeah. If you think that you've got ADHD or your coping mechanism is alcohol or drugs, just ask yourself, are you drinking because you want to enjoy it? Or are you drinking because you need to slow the brain down or to relax or self-medicate? I won't be able to get to sleep tonight unless I've had a bottle of wine, or I won't be able to sleep tonight unless I've had a large, whatever. Just ask yourself why. If you're going out to an event, I need a little bit of Dutch courage. I mean, we all like a little bit of Dutch courage, but just try and have that connection, or see if there's a connection there between why, and also to try and stop drinking for a little bit and see how that sits well with you, and see and learn more about the neurodivergent. What do you say?
Neurodiversity. Yeah.
Just learn about it. You don't particularly need a diagnosis as such. I mean, I've just read a comment there. Everybody's got ADHD, and it seems like it has, but everybody is talking about it now, and a lot of people have. The amount of people who've been undiagnosed. Like I said, my dad got to the ripe old age of 94, and I'm sure that he had ADHD, and that, you know, I could tell you a story about that as well. You know, my mum, even now, my mum used to say, "Oh, your dad used to just sit there, or he wouldn't do anything. But if anybody else wanted something doing for them, then he'd be up on his feet and doing it." And that's typical ADHD person. You can be sat around, surrounded in everything, being overwhelmed by it. But if Mrs. Cannybody next door wanted a lawn cut, you'd be in the shed and getting your mower out. Bless him.
Well, no, it's true, and yeah, a lot of people are being diagnosed, but only because it wasn't there. You know, we couldn't see it or understand it previously. So, and actually, we're different. We live a different way. We have different qualities. We see the world in a different sense to how many other people see it, and we do things very differently. And that's not to say that's wrong.
No, absolutely not. No, in fact, at times it's better. There's, you know, a lot of people who are very successful in life are ADHDers and autistic. You know,
so we've got to start not seeing it as a bad thing, as something that let's celebrate difference, like we do in so many other areas of our lives. We,
you know, people say it's a superpower. I wouldn't say it's a superpower because we can't stop wars, and you know, we're not supermen. But it's something that we should embrace, and I think learning about it as well, and understanding why I wake up anxious one day and then all of a sudden, you know, and then not, you know, the unexplained anxiety was a big thing for me. Why do I feel like this? And why do certain things hit harder? You know, if somebody says, you know, like with the book, I can read 1,000 great comments, and then some troll can put one crappy comment, and that sits with you, and you start to question it. Why, you know? And it's hard to kind of and I understand now that's why.
And the rejection sensitive dysphoria, that's a really very real thing, isn't it?
And I had a lot of that, you know, growing up I did.
Paul, this has been a lovely conversation. I've really enjoyed
me too
you and learning.
You've got a nice calming kind of aura about you, so I've just been able to relax, and
that's nice. That's good.
It's been nice to get things out there and hopefully help people.
Yeah, absolutely. And I definitely think you're on the path for that, and and you have the genuineness of you is, I think, is really very special. So and the honesty, and I think we need so much of that in the world today, don't we?
Thank you so much. And the book is available on Amazon, Waterstones, Foils, Kindle, and the audio version, because I know a lot of neurodivergent people can't read books. So the audio version is out at the end of August.
So that's what I'll go for. I'm not a great reader of books.
No, I'm not either.
They're very difficult, but I can write them.
Yes. But again, you pick the book up, and then the dog wants to be taken out, or the washing machine's on now, it'll beep, and you'll have to get up and take it out and put it on the line, or you know, then you'll go into the garage to kind of water the plants, and then notice the refrigerator, the freezer needs defrost, and then you just
It's very hard to concentrate on one page of writing, because I have to read it over and over again if I really want to get it, and I inevitably give up. Thank you, Paul, so much.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure, Caroline. Thank you.
Good luck with your book and everything else that you're doing. It's going to be great, I'm sure.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you. You too.
Bye.